Alright, peace guys. So I'm here cleaning up and reorganizing, decluttering and what have you, and took a break to have some coffee and reviewing some notes from a rabbit hole I went down February 17th, early in the morning. And I got to thinking about this whole idea of the Jews not being around, whether that was true or not, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but you're hearing a lot of these speculative theories and these conspiracy theories, as they love to coin them, but the particular one in question was that the Jews weren't around during the September 11th attack. I think I heard 10,000 of them stood home. And again, I don't know if this is true or not, but I want to talk about what I felt inclined to look up. And this is going to be interesting because I felt inspired to look it up that day. And it is now towards the end of October, the very end of 2021. So this is some time ago. And I'm always reluctant to even put things up there because, I hardly get any engagement from people. And people rarely like, comment, share. Whether it's the algorithm or just people are disinterested or lazy or whatever else. I don't know. We could go on and on with excuses. But let's talk about this. Now, I just felt inclined to look up the dates, years, the occurrences where September 11th, the actual date, fell on said dates. And I referenced the Jewish calendar. Okay, now you can see that immediately there are a few. Okay, now right here, not enough information, NEI, because the site I was using only went to this range and I couldn't go any further back, which I would have loved to do because, of course, that would have given me a lot more viability here. Nonetheless, the first instance seems to be 1905 through 1914. There was one. Okay, and I put the actual date from the calendar. Okay, and the actual time it happened was 1909. Again, between this year range. Now, continue on. Didn't see any more. From 1915 to 1970, there wasn't any. And I put a reference point here just so you guys know I was still on track with the dates there. And then we have another one from 68 to 77. Actually, 71 was the time it happened. Okay? Notice the Jewish date. Now, it's been 62 years since the last 19th or 11th occurrence. And again, we're not talking about the event just yet. We're just talking about the actual date in question. So 62 years since that first one. Now, excuse the noise in the background in advance. Now, from 78 to 83, there's another instance. 82. 11 years. Now, you're going to see a pattern here. 11 is going to start popping up quite a bit. Okay, so 11 years. So from 62 years, and again, no information pre this, but 62 years with what we have. Then suddenly it's 11 years. Okay, so now it's picking up amplitude. It's picking up some frequency. Okay, now we're going to look for the other. So from 84 to 92, there's none. Then 11 years later, okay, 93, which was the first World Trade Center attack. Some call it unsuccessful because they drove a car, I believe, right through the bottom and weren't able to collapse it. Either way, very tragic. Okay. Now look at the date. Okay? We're going to reference this up here again. 25 ELUL, which is, their date on their calendar. So there's a correlation here. Okay, September 11th, again. So it could be that September 11th is, of course, that date. So inherently, that's the correlation. So let's just fast forward. 11 years. This was 93 if you guys remember. You can Google it if you don't. Now, September, from 94 to 03, there's none. Now, we know September 11th attack happened in 2001. Okay? There wasn't any. Full disclosure. But in 2004, okay, so 3 years later, there was one. Okay? We see that here again. Okay? And it follows that 11-year pattern. So, basic math here. If we're talking patterns and sequences, it would have broke the sequence if it happened in 2001. This date occurring, So it happened as the pattern deemed necessary. So the attack happened nonetheless. Okay? So yeah, one World Trade Center attack happened on the actual 9/11 date. The second didn't. So let's just be clear about that. So we're gonna flip the page here. In fact, I'm gonna give you guys a quick overview in case you guys wanna look into it yourselves and screenshot that and what have you. So we're gonna turn the page here, okay? Now, looking here. Now, of course, I minimalized this, okay? Let's continue. I really want to just sum it up here. So, in 2001, okay, that's where we're starting. Okay? Now, I may have to look at this a little because it's been, again, quite a few months since. So, I see World Trade Center, one occurrence. Saturday, September 11th. Okay? Very sad. 11 years. Okay? And I think this is going backwards here. So, 82, there's one. September 11th. 11 years. 71, there's one. 11 years. From 1909 to 71 is 62 years. There was one. Okay? And from 93, I believe, to 2004, there was one. And that happened when? If you guys remember, in 2004. Okay? Now we see that here. Okay? 11 years. So that 11-year pattern continues and continues. Okay? 05 to 2020, none. Then we're going to go here to 1910 to 70, there's none. But that's a 60-year gap. And then again, not enough information. No, 16 years since a September 11th date on a Jewish calendar. 16 years. So that's past the 11 years now. So that pattern has broken. Okay? By 5 years, give or take. Okay? Now, before we go back and review one or two things, I want to go to this page here. So the American dates, the Gregorian calendar, if you will. September 11, 2001, the 23rd. Okay, that's the 12th month. Remember we said 25th, right, of ELUL was that September 11th. Right here, I see. Did we say September? Yeah, we say September 20th. We say the 25th was September 11th. But here, September 11th of the actual event was the 23rd. So it was off by 2 days. But this 12th month is quite substantial. Keep that noted. Okay? So this is the year in the Jewish calendar, this is the year in the Gregorian calendar. Right here. 93. The first attack on the World Trade Center. It's the 5th of Adar. Okay? And it's the 6th month. Again, very important, because these months, these are very important. This is half the year, so to speak, and this is the full year. Okay? And coincidentally, I was inspired to do this on 2/17/21, which happens to be the 5th of Adar, 1781. So it was just coincidental, that it happened that way. Or maybe not. No. Elul, I don't want to mispronounce it, is the 12th month of the Jewish civil year. Okay? And the 6th month of and this word right here is hard to pronounce, but it's basically the biblical year on the Hebrew calendar. Right? Another thing that I'm going to point out is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 5. There seems to be some indication or some alluding to the creation or the going back to Israel. Verse 5708, literally the verse number 5708, so 5708, is actually the biblical year, May 1948. Very important, okay? We see it up here, right? Again, 1948 Gregorian calendar, 5708 in the Jewish calendar. But this number verse is what we're referencing here. Okay? I'm going to turn the page. And if you guys look that up, it states that you will be, paraphrase of course, you will be going back to your land. To something to that effect. And I welcome you guys to look that up. But it's really cut and dry. Okay? Now, Israel becomes a state in 1948. Okay? So this wowed me. Okay? This wowed me quite a bit. Because this is actually when the actual state of Israel was created. And May of 1948, again, Again, May of 1948 is 5708, the year 5708 in the Jewish calendar. The verse number, not chapter, not verse, not page, the verse number. So there's 1,000 verses, 2,000 verses, 5,000 verses. Okay, then we get to 5,708 verses in the Bible, which happens to be Deuteronomy 30, right? Chapter 30, verse 5. It happens to be 1948, okay? Now that's something to really consider, because it's quite substantial, and I really wish I had written down what it says in the Bible about that date, but I welcome you guys to look it up, because it's cut and dry. Now we're gonna go back here. We're closing in on 15 minutes. We're gonna go back here and review one or two things for clarification purposes. So September 11th, if we're talking probability, it's rare. It's really rare that it would even fall on any particular date, let alone a date like this. Okay? So we could see, this correlation and the actual 11, again, being so pertinent here, right? It's very prevalent. It seems to be 11, 11, 11. and then the cycle breaks at that 16, right? So it hasn't been another September 11th yet. Okay? And we know that the Holocaust, wasn't too long ago. But they didn't have any September 11th at all. Okay? Except for this one. So that was 62 years since the initial one. And then I want to get into the Holocaust or whatever have you, but my condolences if indeed, that was the case. Because we are talking about his story and not history. Often we're taught what they wanted us to know. So whatever the case really is, there doesn't seem to be any indication of September 11th. Okay? So 16 years. We're going to speed up over here. And we see it again minimized. Okay? So, why am I even bringing this information to light? Well, because I want some answers. I legit want, preferably a rabbi or, what we call a learned student of the faith to reach out and to express their thoughts on this. And what are so many coincidences about? Like, what is this really telling us? What am I really supposed to make of this? Particularly this verse number and how the September 11th date seems to be all over the place. It's particularly the number 11. Okay? As we see in this pattern here. So what am I to make of this? And I really feel strongly about the fact that I felt inspired to look this stuff up. It happens to be the 5th of Adar, which, again, was the time the World Trade Center happened. Back in 93. So that was pure inspiration. And they seem to be important months. Milestones, if you will. 6 months, 12 months. What am I to make of this? Am I missing anything? Am I making stuff up? Is my mind adding things? Am I seeing things that are not there? Because we all know our mind could play quite a few tricks on us. So really, I just want some answers. And again, this stems from the speculativeness of, the Jewish folk either not being present during the World Trade Center attacks, or they were. Who knows? There are countless documentaries on the topic. And I've never seen the case that something was 100% true, that there was any speculation. True is true. There's no falsehood in truth, and that's across the board. And when I see simple math like this, all of a sudden, particularly, very particular, in sequential form, after so long, it really starts, drawing more coincidence in my head. The thought of coincidence is very rare. So I just have a lot of questions, and I'm really putting this up on the web. May even be on YouTube, but I'm gonna definitely try to put it on Instagram. But I hope you guys engage, tag a Jewish person that you may or may not know, and see if they could fill in some blanks here and shed some light, God willing. Again, in the name of God, the most merciful, the most powerful, the all-knowing, the all-seeing, the Almighty, the Most High. I'd like to get some answers. Peace and blessings.